So Elliot,
Hello.
what if you were an analyst for a team and that team made the top 8 at a major, but no one on the team actually knew who you were?
I would post it on my Snapchat story for everyone to see.
What would you do, Jack?
I'm not sure, but I bet whoever did that was really, really cool, and the team has not made top 8 of the major ever since.
No,
That's
but
my theory.
They did get quite close in Paris and have since had about 4 different lineups.
They're not doing very well now, are they? So I stand by my point.
Hey, they just qualified for Astana, mate. Leave Nip out of this. We're talking about you here and your failed analyst career.
I was a freelance demo reviewer, I think was the official title.
Well, why'd you claim to be an analyst then?
That's more important, isn't it?
All right. Well, anyway, this is Jack. He's going to be
Hello.
ruining the podcast while Elliot's busy being an adult.
Ruining a baby.
That is not a thing that can be said out loud.
No, as in making his life difficult.
I'm sure you will.
Okay.
Without a job.
All right.
Anyway.
Yeah, let's talk about Counter-Strike because this will descend very quickly. PGL Bucharest happened. It was an event that
I sleep.
I mean, the games were all right. It was just in a studio, and it never really felt like there was any importance to any of the games.
Well, there kind of wasn't. It's not. PGL are back, and some of their events are quite good, but they just don't have the same je ne sais quoi that an IEM has.
I think PGL, they just they want to be disruptive and different, which is cool. But they do it in a way of, we're hiring different talent, opposed to making their actual product innovative or interesting, in my opinion.
I mean, on that, now I know Blast hired Vu, and I'm not entirely convinced on that one, but what the fuck is Dust doing on a tier 1 broadcast in 2025? Like, we don't
Didn't
need
you
to do
retire
that.
to go and commentate disc golf? Which I'm not even sure that's
Is
a
that
real
real?
Sport.
That can't be
Yeah,
real.
yeah, that
I think
is real.
it's
Yeah.
frisbee golf, from my understanding.
No, I understand
Yeah.
what the sport. I mean, that Dust did that.
Yeah, that happened.
I mean, unless it's like
That's
mass
mental.
hysteria, I'm pretty sure that's what he did. Yeah.
The crazy part is that he wasn't even the worst talent hire for the event.
So, from what I gather, I mean, I remember people saying around wasn't it the major? Dust.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He might have done the
people,
RMRs. I
people
can't remember if he
really
did the actual
people
major.
were actually quite appreciative of him. I mean, he's not my favourite analyst, but
I've
people
never
seem to
had anything
quite
bad
like him.
against him.
I don't think he's bad. I just think he's a bit dry.
Do you reckon
Yeah,
he'll top 8 at the
that's
major?
kind of my
Fuck off, Jack.
that's kind of my issue. But yeah, I just find him a little dry. To be honest, I found Pimp a little dry sometimes as well. But then he has these moments where he's like, when he turns into Roy Keane, Pimp's great. It's just
Oh, he
sometimes
is like
he's a bit dry.
exceptional at doing that. But I did try and segue into it, but you kept talking about Dust for some reason. Did either of you catch what Zeus got up to in his 2 games that he casted?
Not
did
very
not.
much, and then got fired, released,
He just-
asked to not come back.
He just chat utter bollocks for 2 BO3s. May have been drunk. I'm not even sure. Nothing
In
good
character.
came out of his mouth, but it was excellent, and I can't believe they got rid of him. Definitely shouldn't have been.
Sounds
casted.
like a better fit for an ESL Pro League than a
Oh yeah,
PGL
he
Bucharest.
absolutely should not have been cast in games, but it was enjoyable.
Was he with Anders?
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, if it's enjoyable, he should be casting games.
Oh no, I'm not sure about that.
There's lots of enjoyable things that you shouldn't really do, especially on the internet.
I don't know.
Elaborate.
You should. Think
No, I
you
don't
should
need
do most
to.
of. I think you should do most of them.
in the public eye, being paid.
A friend of mine once said, "It would have to be fatal to be a bad idea," and those are words to live by.
Does that happen to be the same friend that's now just a bench? By any chance?
No, it's
Okay.
not. No.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I won't go on
His
that
motto was he'd try anything once, which
being a bench. Sort of
Yeah.
apparently.
Yeah, I mean,
Speaking of-
hopefully one of those is coming back from the dead.
Right.
Speaking of Zeus, real quick,
Oh god.
and his link to Liquid, they did very well at Bucharest, didn't they, guys?
Oh,
What a
they were
great team.
awful.
They came last.
I don't think they had any practice with Sui.
Yeah, I mean,
And if I certainly hope they did.
we spoke about this last week. Like, it ain't going to be an easy job for him regardless, but, like,
Gone.
you probably shouldn't judge him based on this, because I reckon they just signed him while he was in the
I'm
airport.
definitely not judging him. It's like kind of the rest of the team,
Yeah. Like, I feel like whoever's in charge, they should
particularly
not be
two
going
North
0-6.
Americans.
Yeah, you should not
Very
be going
North Americans.
0-6 with like whoever's in charge. Like you could put
Yeah.
like me as the IGL. They should be getting a map.
Well, yeah. I mean, Naf is awful right
IGL.
now.
It's
Yeah.
a shame.
And who knows whether Twist will actually be able to not be in IGL, because Electronic certainly couldn't do it.
Yeah, but
Twist
Electronic,
never really was an IGL, if we're
Ele-
being honest.
and I'd say Electronic was a star who became an IGL. Twist's best, as we've said before, is like as a link player, like the third man.
He views himself as a star, though.
I'm sure he does, but we all view ourselves as things that we're not.
Very
It doesn't really matter.
analytical.
Exactly. It doesn't really matter what he thinks he
Yeah.
is. Both
Well, I think
the
the
times
big-
he's been on successful teams, he hasn't been a star.
The bigger issue is that Liquid, as in the org, as in the people who are paying his paycheck, seem to think he is the Messiah. And
Yeah,
Oh, he's brilliant. He's just not a
quite
superstar.
sure. I'm not quite sure he is the Messiah. That is
No.
the big, like, if anyone's
a
going to
false
be,
prophet, perhaps, but
if anyone's going to be the Messiah in that team, it's Nerds. But you know, who are they gonna let be the star? Will it be Nerds or Twist? I don't know.
Like, their stars, in my eyes, should be Nerds and Naf. Like, that
I don't
should be
think
there.
it should be Naf. I feel like Naf should be the
It should
third
be.
rifler.
No, because Twist should be your third rifler.
Well,
That's
that's
Twist's role.
just make him entry, I reckon.
But that's like a matter
Yeah.
of
Just for fun.
system, isn't it?
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
Naf is your like passive star, and Nert is your aggressive star, and then you build around that. That's how I see it.
I mean,
You
yeah,
got rid
sure.
of the other passive player, so Naf has to be your passive star.
It's just like it's a matter of system, isn't it? It's the
Yeah.
thing. Like it
I
could
think if
be
you look
Twist and Nerds.
If you look at Sui's systems historically as well, they've kind of been, especially T-sided, quite pack-oriented. They haven't been particularly lurky. I mean, I know MOUs have been, like, more recently. But, like, Twist is a super passive player. I mean, look at like, the FaZe success, right? That team was karrigan and Rain running in somewhere, and then potentially the three best closers in the game at the time, bringing rounds back to life, right? And it worked for a long time until it didn't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, that's fair. And I think that there's no reason. I don't think there's any reason you couldn't have Twist as part of the pack. Like as again, like that third man, Naf behind him, and maybe Ultimate, and then you just have Nerds and Sui as that like explosive too. Like in many ways, Nerds and Sui seems like a better front two than karrigan and Rain. It's just that FaZe was so backloaded. Like, the difference is they had Rops.
Yeah.
Rops is just, as you say, he was and arguably still is the best closer as a rifler, at least.
I mean, he's just one of a kind, right? Like
Oh yeah, he's just incredible.
the
He
reason
just doesn't make errors.
the reason teams are so fearful of him is because he is just different gravy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's one of those that just scares everyone. And I don't think Liquid have a player that you're genuinely scared to play against. Like, as good as Naf is, he doesn't have the juice that like somebody like that does as a closer. Even though you can look at his record and you can look at his numbers and say, oh, on paper he's as scary as this player and this player. Like, it's not how it works. He just doesn't have the aura.
It's also historic, right? Like it doesn't matter if you were a great closer 10 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever. You're not doing it now, and
Yeah, well, at the moment
that's when it
he's
matters,
really-
right? Like individually, they are all struggling as a team, right? So there's bigger issues than just the roster, just the players. I think.
Yeah, and I think it's just a case of like, I think you've just got to see where they are at the end of this initial loan trial period, whatever the fuck they're calling it, to admit that they can't afford him before they get the sticker money. Like, it... I mean, I said last week they kind of need to be level with Mouse, in my opinion, to not be considered a failure, given the firepower that they have on paper. But we'll see, because he is coachless, and I think that's going to have a massive impact on this team.
Yeah, their analyst is coaching, right? Like,
yeah, and he's...
Is it Mars Rover? Something like
And
that?
as we know, analysts don't do anything.
Or he's not even a CS guy. Like, I think he's just some bloke they found on the street who
Like
did
some
it for
data
like
dude, yeah.
20p in a packet of obnobs.
I do like hobnobs.
They are good, but
Tell.
they're maybe not sufficient enough payment. Right, let's move on anyway.
Can't raise a child on obnobs.
Because I wanted to quickly
bet.
talk about pain. Like, we can skip a few of the other shitty teams, but so I interviewed biggerZera over the weekend, and obviously they were playing this event with a kid called deemo on trial.
Another day, another D.
Don't do that again. Didn't think too much of deemo, but biggerZera seemed to safely say that he was somewhat impressed with the kid. But then he said that they're only going to play one more event with deemo, and then they'll have a permanent fifth. And I don't know whether that was because of, like, maybe a slip or because he's speaking a second language, but I wondered if you two had any guesses as to who that fifth could even be, because
Well, Cello's been benched.
Yeah, but based on when it was, like, it feels like it would have been too quick for them to get.
But they might have known
sorted.
he was
They
being
might have known
benched.
this, right?
Like,
Maybe.
I don't think FURIA decided on the day that cut Cello.
Yeah.
Well,
I also don't think Kawes was that bad either. Like,
No, that did seem a little harsh. But then, if you're trying to go up a level, you've got to make
sure,
ruthless decisions.
but also like realistically, like, Zera's probably too good for this team.
I'm trying to
He is,
remember...
but his buyout's higher than he's actually worth, so he's never going to move.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what he said. He actually gave the reason for Kawes, and it wasn't ability, and it was more tactical.
Right.
And
I mean, you can sugarcoat it however you want, right? But I still don't think. I think they were doing fine with him, right? Really.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
They did worse this event, I thought so.
But I can't remember if Cello fits into what biggerZera then said thereafter. I can't remember.
Well, if they want somebody of the opposite profile, I mean, Dumao is like frying on Legacy. Every time I watch him, he's been really, really good. And I mean, I've been a long time fan of Dumao ever since the first time I watched him play. I really liked him. I think a couple of the other players he was on a team with haven't really gone on to be as impressive. He had some little time out the limelight. He's come back. He looks like a really, really good player again. I just think he's worth a risk because I think he's as talented a player as you're going to find outside the top team in Brazil.
He's also only 21 still.
Yeah, he's still super young. He broke through as a teenager.
Yeah,
exactly.
He was on the MLBR at one point, right? Or was it? Like
he was on GodSent, I think.
Yeah,
back when GodSent were Brazilian.
I do think though, like, the most important thing for Payne, regardless of who they pick up, is just get biggerZera back into his old spots. Like,
but they changed a lot. I'm sure before.
But what's the point in limiting biggerZera? Like, his rating is so down on last year.
I think before Callow this year, I think like him and Snow. I think Mirage they swapped Con and then they swapped back after the event. Like, I think like they just can't seem to fit or decide where they want to put the pieces, right? And I think like they're both competent players. They're all good. Like, just decide. They'll do fine. Like, I don't think swapping who your Con player is going to fix issues that they seem to have, right?
But
that's not the problem.
I think that's symptomatic of the bigger problem is that these players are good and at certain things in certain positions they're capable of being top players, but they don't have the versatility. When we talk about a person like Twist and we talk about he's a star, he's this, he's that, what makes Twist so good is he's so good no matter where you put it. Like, you put him in a position he's never played before, it will take him like 3 rounds to figure it out. You put like these players outside of a role that they've played the whole life, they're just not quite at the same level. They can't quite play it at a tier 1 level. And those marginal gains really, really matter when you're playing against the best teams in the world.
For sure.
Yeah. And that's that is just the unfortunate thing, isn't it? That roles at this point, like, I know roles always did matter, but roles, in a sense, were a lot more basic years ago. Now they're just like so defined, but also there's so much versatility in tactics that you just got to get people who are comfortable, unless you've got a team of Rops and Twists that can probably just sit anywhere on a map and kill everyone that comes in front of them.
But I do think that's also why a player like Perfecto has gone without a team for 4 months, is he's such a specialist at something. And people more and more are wanting versatile players who can kind of do a bit of everything, and you're getting, instead, Perfecto can do one job really well, and he doesn't do a lot else. And in some ways that's fine, but you have to have a team that's set up for it.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with Pain, and we're going to skip the next few teams because Legacy and Rare Atom, I fuck all to say about really, and FURIA we'll get to in a little bit. Astralis, we're skipping them. They're shit. We know that.
We talked about them last week, I think. So
I wanted to give Apogee a quick mention though. I don't want to speak too much about Apogee because I'm, apart from the games at this event, I don't have much of a clue about them, but they were really surprising and actually fun to watch. Like,
yeah, they were pretty good. Like they got some pretty decent results under their belt. They made the event more interesting by being there, which is basically all you're looking for from an underdog. Like, you're looking for a team that comes in to just make the event more interesting. They did that.
I did think Poland have managed to, to have like these consistent like tier 2-ish national roster that can kind of just, when they get somewhere, they put on a good showing. Like, I'm not going to include, I'm going to include that Ends team when they had Glaive, but like, you know, they had that crazy run at Kato, and they did nothing. Like, if you get them a chance, these teams can do stuff, right? But I think they get solved quite easily. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys develop in the future.
Well, they've also got a couple of like younger pieces that actually could go somewhere, and one of those pieces was mentioned in the take of the week. So we'll circle back to him later on. But I did think that Apogee were in the MRQ, and it turns out they're not. So that kind of feels like a bit of a shame. They are now 22nd in the Valve ranking, but we all know that's not enough, and especially won't be enough with the major coming up. So, well, we had a nice few days, Apogee. We'll see you again next year, maybe. Probably not.
Yeah, that's that again. Let's not get into the VRF system, but this is another flaw.
Yeah. The other team from that 2-2 bracket that we absolutely need to talk about, though, and we'll throw them in with Aurora as soon as they went out in the quarterfinals. MongolZ and the Aurora, and at this point, I'd like to apologise. The narrative is set in stone. They are shit bottling chokers, and I'm off both trains. I've sold my ticket.
This wasn't even an arena. They didn't even get to an arena. They bottled a quarterfinal in the studio. That's a new level of bottling. Like, that is right. At least Mouse won in a studio when they were playoff bottlers. They won Pro League. You lose a quarter final to Complexity in a studio. That's not on. I know Complexity were good at this event, but
losing to Complexity with this team is and this is not me trying to take anything away from the performance they had. They should not have lost to them. Not a chance.
Unforgivable.
Not a chance.
Mate, I'm not being funny. If you watch Nyx play against anyone who's slightly competent, the bloke is lost. He doesn't have a clue what's going on.
Low's ball, mate.
He's so happy to be there, bless him, but he's fucking rubbish.
You gotta respect that.
He's not good. Hulzerk and Grim, though, they absolutely fried. They practically carried the team to this point.
I've said to you before, like, Grim, he can play. I don't know why he goes off the boil for like long stretches of time, but then every so often he just reminds you that no, actually, this guy. There's a reason Liquid signed this kid. Like,
but is that worth having in a team? A guy who's
Complexity,
guy who's really good every 6 months.
Yeah, for Complexity, that's worth it. Yeah, because the alternative is a player who's never.
Well,
the alternative is another Nyx.
As long as it lines up with Hulzerk like it did here, it's a top 4.
Yeah.
Weak field, sure, but it's a top 4.
This is true.
Complexity aren't moaning.
No, you're better off being
43 grand.
And if this event had happened a week earlier, They're what, stage 3 of the major?
You're better off
Probably,
being
yeah.
You're better off being between 1 and 10 out of 10 on a vary than like 6 out of 10 every week, which is basically what Complexity have in their stars. When they had Elige, they actually had a consistent superstar. Now they're going to be inconsistent. Of course they are, but that seems like a better decision than being consistently bad, like FlyQuest or MIBR.
Yeah.
I hear you, but like I think that's only really true when your floor is a certain level.
Yeah,
Like when your pieces peak and then you are just dominating stuff, it's great, right? Like this is kind of Spirit's issue, right? Like their floor's not actually that high, I don't think, but their ceiling is fucking sky high, and they consistently hit their ceiling, if that makes sense, right?
yeah.
I don't know.
When there's no league system and the whole thing is essentially knockout cups, you're better off having peaks and troughs than a consistent.
Yeah, you could have a good run. That's true.
Well, look at KD and Heroic. It's the reason they didn't win fucking anything.
Yeah, exactly. They were too consistently good and didn't have
never good enough
ceiling. Yeah.
Do we think the Mongols are making a change?
I was going to bring that up. Like,
m0NESY, they reckon, is going.
I'm not going to claim to know enough about the Mongolian scene, but
I wonder if his brother's going to come back.
I struggle to believe they can get a better player.
So this comes from after the event. Blitz posted, I think it was on Instagram. I think I sent you it. It was on Instagram. On like surprising roster moves coming or something like that, and it could be bait. You know, we've seen so much, and I think m0NESY posted like a black screen with a waving emoji.
Yeah.
It's like people have put 2 and 2 together. I don't know if they got 4 or 5, but that seems like it might be m0NESY out. The thing is, like you say, I'd be surprised if they have a better player. But I thought that when they made the last few roster moves.
Well, that is the one saving grace, isn't it? Like, the Mongols have been pretty aggressive in terms of roster moves in their climb to where they are now. So that does give you some faith, but also it just felt like kind of they got to that perfect 5 and it was just a case of ticking away until it worked.
Or at least, if this isn't the perfect 5, it feels like the perfect 5 probably has m0NESY in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is like this team is like really consistently being bigger than the sum of the parts, right? Like they're still a very young team. Like I think Blitz is the oldest and he's like 22, maybe 23.
m0NESY is like 16.
Like. If you want a success right now, sure, maybe a change makes sense. But I think you give these guys another year together to really to gel. I think they can do. I don't know, but then also, what is the peak of a Asian team? If we're looking at historically, right? Like,
it's this.
This is the peak.
This is the peak.
This is what Tyloo was, right? Like, this is it. Like,
this is miles better.
Tyloo weren't half of this.
No.
Yeah, Tyloo were never.
True. Yeah. But I mean, they're consistently there. They make playoffs a lot.
I will say there are quite a few Mongolian teams who seem to be all right. Like, they actually have a couple of teams under Mongols who do all right. I mean, one of them was it Atox just got a bit of a
all banned.
Yeah, a bit of a slap down by ESIC, which is a shame. But I think there's the Huns and
Chinggis Warriors.
Annihilation. Isn't that a team? No, that's
He's
a player.
That's a player.
I think Eruption. Yeah, Eruption.
Yeah, that's probably the one.
They've got some great names on their team. Side Effect is a good name. Magnums, Fury 5K. You get an upgrade on Techno 4K. Fury 5K.
Do you know what isn't a good name? No, I'm not going into it. I'm not.
I don't know what you're going about. Okay, fine.
Psychological, Elliott. Psychological. Shit name. Fuck you. No, I'm sorry.
I feel like I missed something, but that's okay.
There's a lot of what I'm saying is there's a lot of players in Mongolia who can potentially make that jump. Like none of us had ever heard of m0NESY or
crazy names, bro.
Yeah.
Not even in real life. But the Chinggis Warriors coach is called Carnage.
Yeah.
Ooh, good name. Good name.
Is it Carnage CAR or is it KHAN like Genghis Khan?
That'd be awesome. That
would be good.
But that would be elite.
But yeah, they could have Fury 5K and Techno 4K. and then they just got to get Stewie, and they're sorted, aren't they?
Just need a 3 and a 1.
You're getting 11 kills around.
So many kills.
What I'm trying to say is, there's a lot of players in Mongolia. None of us know much about them, but we didn't know anything about m0NESY until like a year ago. So
Yeah.
I kind of trust Mongol Scout.
Yeah. I think we'll just have to see how it goes. Aurora, obviously there's the thing with Xantares' back or whatever the fuck it is. We'll see how that goes.
From carrying the team.
Until it gets to playoffs, and then he just leaves it to a Cardia. He sadly can't do enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see how those two teams go. I did want to talk about 3D Max. I don't know if you watched their quarterfinal. That was fucking hilarious.
I've been bigging him up, and
they got utterly destroyed.
Did they lose to VP?
No, they lost to FaZe, and they got 5 rounds.
Yeah.
I did see that. Yeah, that's not great, is it?
Yeah.
That is,
but I do.
Yeah,
I
mean, that's just, it's just unforgivable.
The Anubis game was embarrassing. It's like one of the most comfortable 13-0s I've ever seen.
Do you think that could be due to the fact that they are such a structured T-sided team that a karrigan type system with some, some anti-stratting can just crumble them? If you know what doing, if you know what their rounds 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 look like, and you can win them, right?
But FaZe started on the T side. I mean, the round.
Oh well, they're just shit.
The game literally began with Rain just hitting like jumping Glock burst kills. Like it was stupid.
Those games happen. Maybe it's just it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah. They stacked like 4 A on Anubis pistol. FaZe just go into A, kill them all.
A 12 round T side on Anubis isn't even that ridiculous, though, is it? It's not. It's good. It's not like that ridiculous.
Yeah, like you do a pistol stack and you still lose the round. Like that's poor. Yeah. That's bigger than losing the round. That's going to impact you. Like the best players are going to be like, "Fuck, we're fucked," right? So,
yeah. You start infighting. At least in my experience, you start infighting. If you stack a site and you lose, you start infighting.
It's someone's fault, exactly.
Yeah, well, it is, but it's not just someone's fault. It's like 2 people's fault.
Yeah.
If there's 4 of you there and you lose the site,
looking at that team, it was probably Gravity's fault because he's just not very good. I just don't rate him. Don't rate him.
Talks a lot for someone who's a bit rubbish, but
yeah, exactly.
But it always is though. It's always the shit player, shit talking, because it winds you up more. You up like if Xantares is shouting at you, like, yeah, you actually are better. When Major's doing it, you're like, oh, Major, like.
Oh, yeah, it's fair enough.
Right, let's round off the Bucharest talk though. FaZe got 3rd. Don't care. Just don't care. They still look rubbish.
I'm just waiting. Just until I see them in an arena, I can't call them dead. But they're not making it to an arena anytime soon. So it's like,
listen, I don't even want to hate Max or karrigan too much.
They lost to Astralis, man.
I just think he needs to just give it up. You've done it all, like twice over. Well done, awesome.
If he'd won,
your team. But like, what does he think he can achieve? Because I'll be honest, like I'm not blaming all of FaZe's stuff on karrigan, but like, Frozen and Brokey are still super young, right? Or maybe not super young, but still pretty young, right?
Yeah.
They're kind of tanking prime years, right? I'm not saying like they could also be doing better on the team for sure, but like, okay, yeah. So Frozen's 22, Brokey's 24. Okay, but like Frozen's 22. He's been around for donkey's years, and he's still.
He was
22.
14 on it.
He's a Brolan type. You know what I mean? Like he's just been around, but he's still a kid. So, signing a lead, really? Like, is that the fix? That guy's again another guy who's kind of done it already, kind of coming to the end of his career. I think he's awesome. I think Elijah's a great player. Yeah. Probably a god awful teammate though, as we've historically seen. So
yeah,
I don't know where they go.
That's the sort of thing. When we talked about that tweet from two episodes ago, it was like, oh, Elijah, how's he supposed to win with his teammates? Like, we didn't even get into the fact that he's like notoriously not the best teammate. Like he's not the easiest person to work. And you come into a team like FaZe, who clearly had such a strong mentality, and to have a player like that, I think it can sort of mess with vibes about it.
Do you know what the extra thing is there as well? You get Elijah, who historically is known for being a horrible teammate, and you're getting him for Rops, who, if you speak to anyone he's ever played
yeah.
with is just like, oh, he's the best teammate in the world.
The
Like,
Iceman,
Yeah.
right? You know.
he does work for himself and the rest of us. Like,
Yeah.
no
Because
one
he's
has a
just
bad word
set.
to say about him.
No. Yeah, that's the difference. Like, even if you can talk about the style clash, you can talk about the difference in quality. The big difference is that, yeah, like, he's just not as good a teammate. But then also, when they went out, Brokey had a really good tournament until the Falcons game where he was just awful. He was so bad. Which is kind of the problem, bro.
To go back to what Jack said a second ago, though, I think the big problem with FaZe is that I think karrigan has become like this ticking time bomb, because he's made it clear for a long time, like, he wants to go out on top. But the problem is, he had
that chance 2 years ago, though.
He first said that in 2022 when they were on top, and then they went rubbish for a long time until they won a fucking pro league. And then they were good again. They were good again at the start of CS2. But on top to karrigan isn't like, oh, we're making some finals and we're winning IEM Chengdu and
exactly.
They
were in a major final not long ago.
Yeah, and I think
he should have retired.
This is what I was going to say. I think if they'd have won that, I think he'd have retired a week later,
or he'd have just dog walked in Kato by a rookie donk. And I know that was a standout tournament, but come on, like, they got shit on.
Yeah, or I think like he'd have said literally, like, if they'd have won in Shanghai, I think he might have said it on stage that he's retiring.
Yeah,
and that would have been great for FaZe, because they could have gone and got fucking Shuey. They could have gone and got, I don't know,
Brolan.
Yeah, Brolan.
There's a historic
Who do they
thing
get now
with FaZe where they do band-aid fixes, right?
Yeah.
They don't look ahead ever. Look, hence the roster being an average age of 28, right? But they don't look to replace the people before they need to, right? This is kind of what Fnatic had done, you know, and that, obviously now Crimson's gone, but the same, like, the older Fnatic team, like, you know, pieces and pieces here and there, and a Nip to an extent as well. Like, they don't want to bite the bullet and future-proof their team. Like, karrigan and Rain could both be gone by the end of this year, like, realistically. Whether that's by being cut, which is probably unlikely, or, you know, just packing it in. Like, a team like FaZe is not gonna. They don't have the money for it, I don't think, and they also don't the scouting to find these new players.
No, I mean, they got really lucky with Brokey. They found him in FPL.
Exactly. You know,
that's not
they lost Rops on a free transfer to Vitality. Hysterical. Yep. How do you lose someone like him? You know, he's your m0NESY type of payment. I know Falcons obviously
Twist
that,
left
but, like,
for nothing as well.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you've lost probably your two best players that you've ever had for free. What the fuck? That team, that's the money pit.
Ever had.
Two best players ever had is a brave shout. I back it, but it's brave.
I think you might be forgetting someone.
What, Nico?
Yeah.
Olofmeister.
Oh,
yeah, but
Swedish Ustillo, that bloke.
Swedish Ustillo.
And they had Ustillo for like a tournament as well.
Oh god, I forgot about that.
That's horrible.
That's a throwback for you. Anyway, moving swiftly on.
They also had Croman. You ever heard the case for him? Anyway, so on to the final then. Falcons versus G2. Hilarious. We all wanted it. We got it. And Falcons shat on them. Which is even better. And degster was MVP. Which is even better because we're not going to talk about that game at all. We're going to talk about the thing that happened about 20 minutes before we hit record. Falcons have signed m0NESY. And they've kicked degster to do it.
What? They've signed m0NESY? I never saw this coming.
Yeah, right. So we all knew
I honestly
this was
thought
happening.
they were going to get 9-10.
We all knew this was happening, but the fact that Falcons went from 0-2 down at Bucharest to win the event with degster getting the MVP, and then it happens.
They all proved to get their beat.
It's just good, isn't it? It's just really good.
Yeah, it's. You feel a little sorry for degster. I constantly feel sorry. I mean, he must be difficult to work with because he just keeps getting kicked from teams where he's doing well. he turns up,
I don't know,
plays well, and then gets kicked.
So Spirit,
right? This time is different.
Sure, I mean,
this time's
m0NESY,
different,
right?
of course. But
you look at
he's still playing well.
When he left Spirit, right? Like that was never performance. It was, like they were moving to Serbia, and he was like, "I'm not going." This is when the whole conflict thing kicked off, right? He's like, "Yeah, I want to stay in Russia." I'm like, "Okay, goodbye," right? And like he's been fine since, he's had success, but like he's always kind of been like this this weird player who's like kind of exists but within teams and like he's pretty good, but
He's better than pretty good.
no, but like I don't think he's not one you build around. He's always like, oh, he's a good piece to fix to put in, right? Whatever.
This is some really strange thing about degster, right? Because if you look at the list of top AWPers, degster comes in pretty high on it.
Yeah,
If
he's
you
like
actually-
5th or 6th or something.
But
He's really good.
But Jack is right. You don't build
Yeah.
around him. You'd never ever build around degster, and if you were doing that, you'd be doing it wrong.
No, but you also have to build around Dexter because of the way he plays. He takes a lot of resources. So you always have to build around him, but you don't want...
Falcons weren't particularly built around him.
No, but that's because they were going to cut
No,
him.
Falcons was built around a core that they had to buy to keep VRS points.
Yeah. But that same call were also trying to get rid of him.
Yeah,
Sorry, they were trying... Heroic were trying to get rid of him when they were 7th in the world. Falcons are trying to get rid of him when they're like probably top 10. Spirit were like 5th or something when they got rid of him.
My question is, where's s1mple in all of this? He still exists.
Valorant.
He still like probably wants to
s1mple.
play the game.
s1mple
I don't know if he
isn't
can.
good.
I don't know if he's a fix for any
He's-
teams.
I imagine that
Are
right
teams
now
considering him?
he's sat in a bar somewhere. And
He's
I think
not
that
doing
is
that.
I think that is the problem with s1mple. Like, I think there's probably enough behind the scenes that's shattering his reputation, because he did say recently, like, oh, my buyout, it keeps going down. Who the fuck's buying you then? But in all seriousness, who the fuck is willing to take the risk, right? Because his buyout is going down. It's still going to be really high. G2 aren't going
Liquid.
to do it. Let's put it out there. G2 are not going to do that.
Liquid are the only team that I think would be willing to bet on a guy they bet on a long time ago. They are going to need an AWPer. As you know,
You're giving up on him then.
I'm not giving up on him, but I think Liquid will.
Him being
I think Ultimate. I think Ultimate will end up being a pretty good player. I just don't think it'll be on Liquid. And I think Liquid are the sort of... they like to go back. They went back to Twist. They went back to Nitro. They like to go back. And I can just see them going for the romantic angle of getting s1mple in. I don't think it'll work.
Yeah,
But I
and
think
he
that's-
throttles Twist on stage.
Yeah, well...
Maybe.
But he likes Liquid as well. He has fond memories.
I kind of think that Na'Vi should just say fuck it and bench Wonderful until after the major.
They definitely shouldn't get s1mple.
No, they should. Just do it. Put s1mple back on trial.
s1mple will punch Alex.
Fine. Maybe they'll
I mean,
actually
I
fucking play
think-
Counter-Strike again.
I think Imma's going to punch him sooner than later.
But
Oh
look,
yeah, there's
ma-
no way that s1mple would get their vibes are already dead.
Wonderful is shit right now. They've all clearly got motivation issues. Just get some psychotic, I want to murder everyone and win everything bloke on the team. It's the best case scenario.
You're basically advocating config to Astralis at the same time. So.
Yeah.
And we all know how bad of an idea both of those are going to be.
KNG.
Even better. Jambo seems alright. Fuck him off. Get s1mple and Blame F on a team together.
They've just spent a fortune on Jam.
Don't care.
Like, s1mple will either never play again or he'll play for I don't see any other.
I think that's
angle
a
of concern for
I
it.
think that's a solid bet. But anyway, we got sidetracked by s1mple.
Sorry.
m0NESY to it's alright, mate. m0NESY to Falcons. Even if they don't make another change, it's pretty good, ain't it?
Yeah.
It's an awesome move. It's an awesome move. But Nico and m0NESY didn't do a lot together in the last year.
They won a Kato and a Kala.
Before that, yeah. But the last year, I mean, right? Like,
Yeah.
They
Did
did
have.
win events back to back
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you did have, snacks
with snacks. Yeah,
doing his thing. I don't know. I'm excited for it. I see it as not the final move. I think
It's not, well, 'cause
they're
they-
going
well,
to
in
get rid
that
of.
case, let's talk about the final move.
I just don't think it's fair for TeSeS to be the one on the way out. If that's the rumours are to be believed.
I
Oh,
agree.
it should be magic.
It should be
Far
legit.
better than Mr. Tidal,
It should be
Magnus
legit.
Boy. In my opinion.
Yeah, Magisk is crap now. Like,
yeah.
He's He's so cooked right now. I don't know what.
It's crazy.
Get him back to Astralis.
Oh yeah, that'll fix everyone's issues.
Well,
At least it'll contain all of the issues in one place.
Take him to the glue factory, man.
It's like when it's like for me when Villa signed John Terry. It's like I don't have to spread my hate quite as wide. Like it all goes in one place. Like all of my issues are contained over there.
Yeah.
But just going to Astralis solves none of the problems, but they're all in one place.
So anyway, just for context, it looks like m0NESY's staying on Falcons for some reason. TeSeS seems to be on the way out because they seem to be bringing in kyosuke from Spirit's Academy.
See this massive bag of money I'm holding, figuratively.
It is a large bag.
That's what Falcons sack, right? That's what Falcons have had.
So this move, right? Like I kind of struggle to speak about it because I'm not going to pretend like I've watched Spirit Academy play Counter Strike. I'm not doing that. I've got better things to do. But is he aggro? Is he passive?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, he plays the exact same way Donk does, pretty much.
Right.
Which is why he's not on the main team.
So I guess
you would replace someone on Spirit for him, really, but.
So in that case, I guess like kyosuke will be in the pack where TeSeS is meant to be, and Nico will be lurking. So like maybe it does make sense to get rid of TeSeS, because at the end of the day, right, m0NESY ain't long for this team anyway. Give it until after the major. They're just going to buy Jimpphat.
This is true. Yeah.
They're actually just going to break the game.
All I'm saying is Kicksan's landed on his feet here, man. I don't think he's bad. I think he's great.
I think Kicksan is fantastic.
But
I think if you're talking about like players who could have
Kicksan,
replaced karrigan,
when he was on Apex with like Jacob and Nork, Jacob who's just funny for other reasons, ever thought he'd have m0NESY, Nico, and Baby Donk on his team? The fact we already have Donk is baby, and we already have a Baby Donk already. There's already a new Donk. What the fuck is happening?
Teenage pregnancy.
And
yes.
Rapid growth. So yeah, Falcons look like they're going to be really good.
Sorry. Get Zonic fucking gone. Get him away from that team.
Get that
let him ruin m0NESY. Kill him. I can't see that fraud. And he is a fraud.
It's not enough to just bench him. We must end his life.
It's not right. He does not get to ride the coattails of the best team of all time ever for that period, and then prime m0NESY and this new young prodigy
and
Nico.
Prime Zywoo before that.
Yeah, that happened. What the hell?
Yeah, I mean,
coach of the year.
m0NESY, Zonic, Device, Zipnix, all bad. We all agree there. All bad now. So Dupree absolutely was the key. That's what Dupree was the key.
Yeah, fine.
Everyone else has been rubbish. Everyone else has been rubbish without it. Every time
the word, he's the winningest player. You know.
He's
He's
the shootingest player ever.
The most shootingest player of all time. But okay, so Falcons make
fuck
these
off the G2.
moves.
Let him fix that fucking fire.
Oh yeah,
then I'll believe he has minerals. Then I'll believe he's.
He shouldn't replace Taz. He should replace Snacks.
I don't think they make mice for his hand size. He's huge. He's like Boban.
Right, fuck off. Anyway, Falcons make these moves without even signing Jimpphat. Can they be the best team in the world?
Yes.
I mean, if they don't, as long as Sonic's not the wheel, yeah.
Okay. So
of course they've Nico, m0NESY, and kyosuke, who we all assume is really good. Again, no one watched him, but everyone's excited for him.
What if he's shit? What if he
then
just,
they won't?
What if they spend
they won't be the best
bag on him and he's just dog?
Well,
what if he's who's like that? Like BMAS, like joins FaZe and then just does nothing ever again.
BMAS was really strange player,
rubbish player.
Yeah,
but he had like insane mechanics, but he just couldn't figure out how to play the game.
What's S-Tag doing these days? I'm not sure
why that playing board games.
Cloud9 spent money on him knowing he was rubbish.
They did. They paid
They
a
spent
lot for it as
it was.
well.
They paid like $1 million,
Lads,
didn't they?
lads, you're asking
Yes.
the wrong question. The right question is, what the fuck can G2 do now? Because they're going to lose m0NESY. They can't sign Donk 2. What the fuck do they do?
I think, hear me out, you buy 3D Max. Have a French team again.
Yeah.
I
Honestly,
actually don't hate it.
yeah.
Right? I think, like, Mabs and Heavy God are obviously good. Hunter's past it. Snacks, I don't need to shit on him. Lovely bloke. Should not be near a Counter-Strike team for a long time. Taz is fine. I think Pekka probably should be charged with some, like, crimes for that team, honestly, for the decisions he's
I
made.
don't think it's
and I'm
his
not saying
fault.
they're all even his.
I don't think it's his
I
fault
don't think
at all.
m0NESY's his, but the Hooksy,
I'm not
the
sure he.
Dexter, the
I'm not sure he
JKS,
wanted Hades.
historically, I don't think they're good moves.
Do you want to know somebody who immediately upgrades G2 within like seconds? TeSeS. They get TeSeS. It
Yeah.
doesn't fix everything, but it's an immediate upgrade. You replace Hunter with TeSeS.
Yeah.
I don't know who you get as in-game leader. That's obviously the big question. I will continually suggest either James or Boomich, but Boomich just screams G2 to me.
I don't think it would hurt G2 to get an AWP IGL.
No, well,
James?
because I don't see them getting a top quality AWPer,
But James
and I
is calling
don't see
right
them
now,
getting
right?
a top quality IGL. So just compress the role.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, like, Fallen. Get Fallen.
Fallen. Now we're talking.
Actually, not even against
No,
it.
right? Like,
No, I am against it. I'm going to go on record.
No, I mean, yeah.
I love Fallen. I'm going to go on record. I am not for Fallen to G2.
Fallen, TeSeS, Malbs, Heavy God, and Hunter. That's a team.
What? You're keeping Hunter? I want Nexa back.
Right, move on. It's take of the
shot
week.
at redemption.
No.
no one's ever said that, ever.
No.
Shot at redemption.
No. It's take of the week time, and it's the first take to come from the TLDR Discord. Elliot, I'd like you to read this one out, seeing as it's your last week for a while, because Taken, our good friend from the Discord, has solved all of G2's problems.
Look, Taken, man. I like you. You have some really interesting insights sometimes. Last week, he was the only person I've seen who didn't have prior information who guessed that Hades was going to G2. That might tell you a lot about his mind state, but he guessed that Hades was going to
Where's
G2.
my crack pipe? Sorry.
For context, Taken should come with a warning label and a helmet.
His suggestion to fix G2 was minus Hunter. Okay, I'm all right with it. Minus Snacks, minus m0NESY. Not a lot you can do about it. m0NESY, fine, get rid of Snacks. His suggestions to replace them were Jacob,
Apogee.
okay, 910 as AWP IGL, and Makaza.
Who, for those unaware, is from Navi Junior.
910.
As an AWP
910 as
IGL.
AWP IGL.
Historically, cannot speak English.
Can't speak English. Has like
Hasn't never
2,000
IGL.
hours in the game. Yeah. And you're just going to make him a worse off. Because Blitz is their in-game leader, right? Like, this is what I said to him. I was like, Blitz is their in-game leader, isn't he? He was like, well, I heard... He says he heard the voices.
It's told me, yeah.
The-
In a
the-
DMT trip, it came to me.
The voices told him that 910 does a lot of their calling. So he's decided 910 is going to call in Mongolian to Jacob. and
Bruv,
Kaz.
watched the team vlog and was like, I know what he's saying. He's calling
Yeah.
to do an Amiga B split. That's what he's saying. It's a joke. It's a fucking joke.
Flows ball in tier
Exactly.
1.
Look, we just said that an AWP IGL wouldn't be the worst thing for G2, but you
Yeah,
might want
so
to
get
find
an AWP
somebody who is an
IGL.
AWP IGL. What about Cadian?
Device. The best AWP IGL of all time.
What about we just move on? Move on.
We
We
move on.
mentioned Fallen. I think that's a good segue into something that happened.
Yeah. I guess Fallen isn't even going to be AWPing anymore.
No, he's not even an AWP IGL anymore.
Because they've signed
Streets won't forget.
molodoy, Milady. They've signed some kid from Amcal. He's
How's that?
from Kazakhstan. He's now on a Brazilian team. I feel like I've seen this film before, and I feel like it wasn't very good the first time.
Apparently his name Genuinely, this isn't
Junior
even a joke.
wasn't Kazakh.
No, well, apparently
It's
his
shit,
name
though.
translates to Junior. Apparently, Molodoy translates to Junior.
That can't be
off,
right.
that can't
That can't
be
be
real.
right. That can't be
That's
right.
what somebody had said it on Twitter. So
It must be true.
doing some frantic Google.
It's apparently Azerbaijani and it translates to youth.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So it
What
sort
the-
of is Junior.
Russian word
Junior,
molodoy
junior.
translates to young. So yeah, it's junior too.
That's
He's
amazing.
young Junior.
I can't believe I didn't see that to put it
That's
in the
awesome.
TLDR story. That's
Yeah.
so sad.
You know what? Best move of the season.
Yeah. They've
Just off
literally
that.
signed Junior too.
What will it take for this move to work? Because I can't figure it out.
A genie and two lamb. A lamb and two wishes.
I don't know, man. Quesarato, we miss you. When you were good.
Keserato has to become God. He has to just...
Who's the bloke with like 6 arms?
Vishnu.
Him. And he just plays
Yeah.
on 3 PCs at once. You do that, you keep Yuri and Molodoy, and that team's alright then.
Yuri has been so bad for like 4 years.
Quesarato's not even
Actually
particularly good anymore.
No, I know he's not. I'm just
It's
coping.
really sad.
I
But
just
I can't see how this works. Like,
No,
it's the
it
most
just doesn't.
insane move ever. Like it looks like, you know, a strange stand in Photoshop. Or
Keserato
like, you know when
turned
people
down
edit jerseys on random players, like Eternal
Yeah.
Fire jerseys on bloody Tabson. It's that kind of shit.
the latest Eternal Fire rebuild as they
Yeah.
bench Major for the 17th time.
I don't get it. I'm excited to see what they do. My guess is probably not a lot.
Yeah.
I'm buzzing. For
Hope
it,
he's getting a bag though. Yeah, absolutely.
I said in the TLDR story, like we like a baffling roster move, like Mouse benching Shuey,
I'm
fantastic. TC going to Passion UA, even better. This best one yet. This is insane.
I still love Snacks to Mouse instead of Steeker. Still one of my favourite moves
Yeah,
ever.
that was also batshit insane.
It was
as
great.
well.
Yeah,
Like,
they won New York, mate. Worth it.
Yeah, he didn't do much, but they won it.
He had like a pistol thing with a
Sticker
smoke.
didn't do much either.
Fair enough. I can't see that move working out, but if it does work out, fair enough.
Well, what I will
Does
say...
he happen to just speak Portuguese? Is that like a fun fact about him?
If he does, that is the most incredible bit of scouting that some
Yeah.
dickhead has just found this out.
Which I assume he doesn't. So it means they're coming in English. Which Fallen and Skulls, like sure, fine. I know that like, they all speak English, but like historically, like second language calling hasn't been a good thing for teams, has it really?
Not for 4 players from one nationality. If they'd have gone out and signed like a couple
This is
of
like, bro,
Europeans,
this is like
I'd be
Danish
like, yeah,
optic.
sound. Yeah,
Like it's just strange.
it's really bizarre and
What I will say is that FURIA were locked into signing players from 1 or 2 regions. South America, Portugal. That was what they were locked into. And you really limit yourself. The fact that they're willing to go international means they don't have to pay insane prices and they can probably get a better player. We've spoken at length about how there's just no good offers.
But
in
then
Brazil.
if you're going-
Everyone wants to follow them.
International. Start from scratch.
Yeah,
Maybe
why-
not
You'll start
because
somewhere, haven't
because of VRS, but like,
Well, they also want to stay Brazilian.
well, no,
But
but it's like Aurora
Fine,
bought
Teresa.
Eternal Fire, right? Like, Furia, the org could just buy a roster that are doing okay.
but it's
They want to stay Brazilian for sponsors.
Yeah, but they can. I don't. They can start from scratch, sure, and you can still keep like Quesarato, but we've seen Cadian, right? Fallen's not gonna be usable on this team if he's not open. In which case, why have you signed m0NESY? Then you've got Yuri and Skulls. Like, what's the point in them two?
Jeez.
Like, is there anyone on this team that's Brazilian worth keeping, other than Quesarato, who is half the player he was 18 months ago?
I think Schools are still decent.
I've always thought he was okay, but I mean,
Yeah.
like,
He's
Not
a warm
winning.
body. Like,
Yuri's a cold one, so
but also like I feel from it, he played on a
He's been
liquid
dead
team.
for
He had
years.
played on a liquid team with no space at all, and then on a Furia team with no space at all, right? Like, haven't really given him much chance, have they? Not saying he's necessarily deserving of that, but maybe it's unfair to expect that of him. He was also a nepo hire from Zeus.
I'm just going to say it before we move on. Furia's biggest mistake will be not signing players from SOAR.
Furia's biggest mistake was benching Henny. Whenever that happened, like 5 years ago.
Also that.
He was fucking baller.
But in the last year, they should have took Sweet Rice and U-Jerks. They should have took Story.
They might have tried.
I feel like.
Do you reckon Nip-Off are offering more money than Furia?
Probably, it might be. Right? Didn't they say they wanted to? Office. They said they wanted to go to an international team, which means they probably didn't want to go to.
Technically international.
It is, but it's not.
I mean, they mean English speaking when they say that, don't they? Right. So
usually, yeah.
They probably also wanted to stay in Europe.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think they might have tried to get them.
Can't blame
because
them, really,
they say Furia's pool of players they can sign is so small. I'd be amazed they didn't try and sign ours. Mm.
But it's just that's why this move has happened as well, right? Because the player base for Brazilian teams is so small and the buyouts are so high that it's really hard for them to improve their team without doing this.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I don't see in an era where rifling is dominant, not AWPing. I don't see how this move, regardless of how cheap it is, can fix Furia's problems.
Yeah, it won't.
Yeah, they have too many.
Great analysis from the top 8 major analysts.
Listen,
they have too many problems to fix one.
Yeah. But if they're on about signing children from Eastern Europe, Spirit have done a nice thing for them. It's a good segue, that.
Excellent segue, yeah, well done.
That was good. Because Spirit have decided to become evil geniuses, and they've made 4 new academy teams, an under-12s team, an under-14s team, and 2 under-16s teams.
Awesome.
Utterly fucking terrifying.
I think replicating the actual, real sports grassroots model is smart if you can afford to do that, right? If you've got, baby Donk, baby kyosuke coming through, in the under-12s team, and you keep him through, right? You can make that guy the player you're going to need in the future, and then you either have the perfect fit when time's right, or you have, some future product you can sell for a bag. So, I want to see more teams do it. Probably like a South American team, a North American team, like a mainland European team, but a Swedish team, that'd be nice. But yeah, I think Nip mentioned it before. They were going to have like the young ninjas, then like the Swedish young ninjas as well.
And baby ninjas.
Yeah, fetus ninjas.
Little ninjas.
Yeah. Ninjas with a Z. So yeah, I don't know.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But yeah, I mean, it could be pretty revolutionary. Being serious, like it's probably a big financial commitment as well. But when you look at the list of players, like it's in the HLTV article, Donk, Zontix, Flamus, Magnojez, Artfrost, Siren, Chiron, Patsy, Kyosuke. Ridiculous list of players to come from one team.
That's the benefit of being in Russia. Cause, if their scouting is good, because the reason it didn't work for Evil Geniuses, they signed 2 teams who were already established, who were 25 average age. It was never going to work. But if they're selling Kyosuke and they're able to buy 4 academy teams, that seems like a decent reinvestment when their team's this good, and in theory, it's a pipeline to keep making money, because it seems like the flow of Russian talent hasn't stopped in the last 10, 15 years, so there's no reason it to stop now.
Well, this is the thing, a couple of those players are crap, like Chiron, Patsy, not particularly good.
Respect the GOAT.
At points, they've been worth money.
Yes. So
if you sell at the right time,
well, it's like
you're in.
It's Moneyball, right? Like if you're trying to be an esports org that makes money, or at least doesn't require crazy sponsorship to keep existing. Endpoint do this to a similar degree, right? I mean, they did when they had a team. They've, your Flames, your Nerds, your m0NESYs,
Heavy God,
they've gone through, the endpoint system, and they've made that team enough money to keep operational. They make profit, that org does. I mean, they're at a much smaller scale of Spirit, for sure, but do you know what I mean? it's smart, man. I hope we see more of it from different teams for sure. I just don't want it to be something that leads to this sort of contract prison where you have young players tied up to an org for like a 10-year deal when they're like 12. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
My other fear as well, slightly, is not sure if you saw, but like one of the Spirit kids, I don't know his name. I'm not gonna pretend I do, but like he was posting his FaceIt and stuff, and then he got banned on FaceIt like quite for me about a month ago on Twitter.
Was he
too young to use the platform?
Is that the one they signed when he was like 2 years
like
old?
11 or some shit? Yeah, but he's like he's coming from me, who's shit at the game, but he's like level 4. Like I'm not sure why this kid is parading him being signed if he's like not actually. I'm not saying we should have like level 10s that are 4, obviously, or however old he is. But do you see what I mean? Like,
yeah.
If
Honestly,
you can't
was
actually
level
play,
10 at 12.
if you can't actually play the platform legally, like maybe that's something that FaZe needs to address. But obviously, there's rules there, right? Like, are these kids going to develop properly if they're not playing FPL or like the right hubs and circuits and qualifiers and stuff? And then also the whole VRS thing with academy teams and qualifiers and whatnot. That's going to be interesting, I think, how that develops.
If the teams are good enough, they can actually just practice against each other and keep improving. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it happens a lot in League of Legends, where like the top Korean teams just sign a really, really good academy team and just scrim each other all week.
Yeah.
So then they can practice specific scenarios, teach them specific things. So
this is kind of what
that's the idea. But
EG said they were going to do, and NiP kind of tried to do. They were like, oh, the young ninjas will be part of. They'll sit in on practices and we'll scrim together and stuff. I'm like, I'm sure it's all good in theory, but like, no one's managed to continue that successfully for more than 6 months, right? So this will be a good test case to see if it works.
It's like the 6-man teams that was a fad for a while. Nobody actually.
I wish that worked out. I think it just would have made a really interesting time.
The 6-man teams would have been cool.
Unless you could make a sub like midway through a map, I'd like that.
I think like per map is cool though, right? But then like, only to I think 6 is the right number. Like if you you have a 10-man roster and you just this is our Inferno squad and they swap in, like that's ridiculous, obviously.
Yeah, special teams.
Yeah. But
imagine the team Falcons. There'd be no players left.
Special
Falcons
teams, and it's just 5 takens.
Very special, very special indeed.
No, Falcons would have a different team for each map. Great. There would be no players left.
I wonder who they would actually have if they did that.
You'd have Bit on Inferno. And Vinny.
Streets not forget.
JDC to anchor B site Mirage. Unironically, by the way, he was really fucking good at that.
And not much else.
I mean,
no.
Nah, hold tight, my man.
One of the funniest ramp players I've ever seen, and I've played a lot of Nuke with Jack.
Yeah, JDC. I like JDC, but you have to like not contain him. Usually, you have to just kind of let him do what he wants because he's going to anyway.
Yeah. Great player, great bloke as well.
I like him.
Anyway, let's move on to the last piece of fucking Spirit news. Sadly, they're not going to be at IEM Melbourne, which is a real shame because it's Vitality's first opportunity to win the Grand Slam.
Yeah, they cited health issues. I don't know what that means. Like, especially as it's not for a week. So if it's like, you got not feeling very well, it's like, well, you got a week to recover.
Yeah,
so it's probably
I
like
think citing health issues
burnout
is a way to dip out of a tournament without getting fined. If I'm being honest, right?
Yeah, probably.
I think so too.
Per the rule book, right? Like
I think so too.
And that's okay. If they want to do that, that's fine. Like rules are there to be followed, and they're following it.
Rules are there to be manipulated.
Yeah, I mean they are, right?
Thanks, Jack.
But it is a shame. It is a shame just for the Grand Slam purposes, because like maybe Mouse can finally get one over on Vitality, but Na'Vi aren't going to, the Mongols aren't going to, FaZe aren't going to, and the only other team who maybe can is Falcons with m0NESY, and are they playing that with m0NESY? They are playing that with m0NESY.
Yeah,
so,
hell yeah.
So maybe Falcons with m0NESY, like that.
It'll be really interesting. Really interesting.
Because I just don't want Vitality to win their Grand Slam in an easy tournament. That feels shit.
It will mean that anyone who beats them we'll get the Giant Slayer, Legend Slayer bonus, whatever that is, which is 100k for denying the Grand Slam win, which is potentially interesting for, you know, a team who maybe need the money. FaZe.
Yeah, I'm sorry, mate. I couldn't give less of a fuck about that bonus.
That's okay.
I'm really sorry. I know you've got to do the ESL shield bit.
Oh no.
But no, just didn't even know that was a thing.
It's fair enough.
Maybe
No,
the
I didn't
marketing
either.
team should market that better. Just a thought.
I'm not having this conversation now. They are playing FlyQuest in the opener though.
Who are Vitality?
Vitality, yeah. Which
Yeah,
is
Ooh, that's going to be
easy.
a great game to watch, isn't it?
Right, how many rounds will FlyQuest get in that best of 3? I'm going with 6.
2.
7.
2, and that's on one map, and then they don't win the next map at all.
Yeah,
Okay.
they ain't doing well.
Right,
Falcons
so
will face Saw, and then winner of Navi MRBR to get to the upper fight bracket.
Very
final.
winnable.
So
Very winnable.
Saw, which does have a Zuwu and Sejot, which is just feel like we should remind
Very
people about that.
who is a rubbish player apart from that one map he had that I can't remember who it was against, but he absolutely shat on the other team.
Wasn't
It's
it
like-
like Astralis?
Maybe
or
he
something?
did.
It was like a decent team, and he got like 37 kills.
Good for him.
Who was that?
Move
Either
on.
way, there was
Aw.
one. There was one last thing I wanted to talk about, and that was the fact that Borup did actually did replace Crims for the MRQ, but there was really strange wording in Fnatic's announcement. I don't know if
Yes.
you saw that. Did you see it, Elliot?
I remember something, but I can't remember what
Something
it was.
So-
while we analyze, while we assess its
Yeah,
feature
so
in the
they-
team, right?
So they say that Crims won't be playing the MRQ for personal reasons, which, it's the same thing with Spirit's health issues. Bullshit. But then they completely just admit it's bullshit because they then say they'll continue to evaluate Crims' long-term future within Fnatic. So why
I
don't you
think-
just say that you're looking for someone else? Like,
Teams like to do the two-part benching nowadays, especially for like legacy players, right? You don't want to upset your fans because that's what matters apparently. What matters is having a good team, right? Really, like people will be upset if you bench a player, sure, but they'll get over it and forget it. So, womp.
yeah, I just find it really bizarre, and I think that Crims probably does deserve something better. Like, let him try and get to the major. If you don't get it, you don't get it. Because believe me, there's going to be no difference playing with Borup and fucking Crims. Like, there's no difference at all. And then let him play the major and then fuck him off. Because if he don't play this major, he's never playing another one.
Probably the fact they replaced her with Boris suggests that the personal reasons might actually be true. Because there's no way they planned to replace him with Boris.
What's he been doing for the last ever?
He's been playing on a
Chilling,
team
bro.
called Wild Lotus. We looked at last week. It's a very strange team, and I don't want to go back over it.
look
You
for my
can
own name,
search it up in your own time. Very strange mixed players. But yeah, I just like.
Hey,
So-
it is
it's-
strange.
So maybe personal reasons is legit, but also just you're also clearly looking for someone.
Yeah,
Who-
of course they are.
I'd also
But
say
they always look
if
for
it's personal reasons, let the player announce that themselves. I think that
Yeah.
just makes it look more legit.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
Yeah,
I'll be
that's
missing X tournament. Like just from a PR angle, I think that's a
Yeah.
better way to
Yeah,
navigate
that's
it.
But I also feel like as well there is going to be the aspect of like they either know that they can't get who they'd want right now because we're so close to the major, or they're waiting to see who will be available after the major. In which case, go into the MRQ with the lineup that has fucking practiced together. Get yourselves to the major. Get yourselves the sticker money, and dump it on whichever player it is you're going to buy. Like,
Yeah,
it
and that
just doesn't-
reinforces that it probably is somewhat legit that he's off for this event. But I do think his future is definitely
Yeah, I think both
Questionable.
things are true.
Yeah, it's just a very strange wording, but I guess we'll see how it goes in the coming months. And I
Didn't
think
start well in the MRQ, but we'll get to that next week.
No, they
I
didn't.
won't. But...
yeah, you won't. So with that, Elliot, how about you do some form of outro?
Yeah, so for the at least for the next few weeks, I won't be on the podcast because On Thursday, my wife's going to the hospital, being induced, and I'm going to become a father. So,
What a terrifying fucking thought.
Yeah, poor kid.
Yeah, so
Born as
it's
a Blues fan.
it's a happy reason. It's a happy reason.
Of course.
You could say it a bit fucking happier.
I'm trying to hold in my emotions because I don't want to cry.
Oh,
right. Well,
beautiful.
it's a good job we're all mates, isn't
You
it?
big softie.
Exactly.
So I guess I'll take it from there. In that case, he's Elliot at AZESC. I'm going to call him Daddy because he asked me not to. He's Jack. What is your at? At
Mommy.
Nova H Design?
At Mommy.
Yeah, he's Mummy.
Surprise!
But what, in all seriousness, at Nova H Design?
At Nova Design, yeah. You don't need to say the
At
H.
Nova Design. No,
it's
but the
silent.
H is there. The H is there.
It's on screen, I hope. People can read
Yeah.
that.
And I'm Sam at m0NESY with a 1. Ray Phoenix loves me. Mac's done a job. James has done a job. They might appear in the next few weeks. Maybe if I'm bored of Jack. And me and Jack will catch you in the next one. But
We
Elliot's
will.
going to be busy. So,
I am.
see you
Bye
later.
all. Bye.
I also.